An absolutely incredible first season with Manny Diaz as the head football coach for the Duke football team. Got to be excited about what the future looks like for the Blue Devil program.
You are Locked On Blue Devils, your daily podcast on the Duke Blue Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome on into another episode of the Locked On Blue Devils podcast. My name is JJ Jackson. Hope that you're doing well here today. Locked On Blue Devils is a one-stop shop where we discuss everything going on in the life of Duke athletics, focusing a whole lot on football and men's basketball. We've got football due up for you today with our good pal Jordan Mann of the Big J and Little J Show, here to break down the season that was for the Blue Devils. We've got some fill-in-the-blank topics that we want to discuss and really fired up to talk about what's next for Manny Diaz and this program. If you have not done so already, please be sure to follow and subscribe to Locked On Blue Devils for free, wherever it is that you get your podcasts. Be sure to leave us a 5-star rating and written review. Go ahead and like this video, share it with your friends. Really appreciate all the support that we've got for people that watch our show on YouTube each and every day. Also take a moment, if you will, to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That means a whole lot to us as we continue this climb towards 3,000 subscribers. Super excited to celebrate that milestone with all of our everydayers who have been here for many an episodes of Locked On Blue Devils. You can follow us on X at LO_Blue Devils, and I'm there as well at _JJ_Jackson_. So without further ado, joining me today, as he so often does, the aforementioned Jordan Mann, back with us once more. Man, happy holidays to you. Happy New Year, Jordan. I hope you're doing well. It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you again, JJ. Happy holidays to everybody and Happy New Year. I'm excited to talk about Duke football that will be playing in the new year of 2025. Yes. And it's not in August or September. It is in January.
Yes. So at the time that we're recording this, we've yet to see the results and the outcome of that Gator Bowl that Duke's got coming up in the matchup against Ole Miss. Hopefully we're able to talk about a victory that takes place in that game. But Jordan, we wanted to go through and kind of do a year in review thus far for Duke and cap the regular season as it was a 9-3 mark for this Duke football team. And we've got a couple of fill-in-the-blank topics that we want to go for here today. Let's kind of go back and forth with who gets this thing started. And I'll start with you here. Duke's best football game this year was blank. What do you think?
Duke's so the best comeback was UNC for me, but the best game was at NC State because all three phases of the game were impactful, starting off with the punt. The first punt Duke had pinned NC State inside the 1 or 2 yard line. Defense gets a safety, and then Duke goes out to a 12-0 lead in Carter Finley. And Duke's defense made it a long day for C.J. Bailey. Malik Murphy, arguably his best game in a Duke uniform, no turnovers, couple big-time touchdowns, and just seemed like he made the most correct decisions in that game compared to others. So I'm going to say Duke's win NC State.
I love it. It's a great choice. Obviously, this was open-ended with how you and I kind of interpreted the question here. I'm going to go with that UNC game in particular. I mean, dude, spotting 20 points to the Tar Heels, down 20-0 for Duke, coming all the way back. You win 21-20. It'd been way too long since we had the victory belt on our sideline for Manny Diaz to have a moment like that. Which would turn into a state title run against every other school within the state of North Carolina in a game like that. Oh, my goodness, that was amazing to watch. And for me, that's kind of the best game there because that UNC victory, man, was just so special.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, we were down 20-0 and came back and scored 3 straight touchdowns, Star Thomas legacy game to go up and win 21-20. So it was an awesome game, an awesome comeback in the Duke-UNC rivalry. And it just goes to show – when a Duke coach beats UNC looks for a new coach immediately. It happened to Larry Fedora, and now it happened to Mac Brown.
Yeah. Hey, Star Thomas legacy game might be underselling it, as crazy as that is, Jordan. I mean, again, 30 carries, 166 yards, and some scores. Holy cow, man. That was incredible to watch because so often this year, when we talk about kind of the year in review, Duke struggled running the football, but not against the Tar Heels, not for Star Thomas.
Yeah, Star Thomas had a 3-game stretch there where he had over 100 yards. It was like UConn, Middle Tennessee State, and UNC. And then after that, kind of was struggling throughout the year to get those numbers back. But boy, oh boy, I'm perfectly fine with his best game and his peak being against UNC as a Duke fan. So shout out to Star Thomas for that game. Like I said, legacy game and a huge win for Duke in the rivalry.
All right, let's go to our next one here. Manny Diaz's stock has blanked. I'm curious what phrase or adjective that you would go for here, Jordan. I think it's skyrocketed. I mean, to go to a 9-win regular season right out of the gates, your very first year, building off the momentum that Mike Elko had when you had some players follow the head coach out the door. The guys that stayed in were locked in and loyal. You went out in the transfer portal when you needed to. You got the big quarterback acquisition there in Malik Murphy. He put on a heck of a year, setting the Duke single season touchdown record. And then as we've seen with the season coming to a close, they're able to go out and get another quarterback in the transfer portal and Darian Mensah. I mean, wow, buy all the stock you can right now in Manny Diaz because things are looking great for the Duke football program.
I also had skyrocketed. And I
look at us.
Yeah. I just said, hope you guys bought it before the end of the year or before the beginning of the year when it was at the bottom, because you'll never see those levels again. It's long gone of where you could buy in those. It skyrocketed. Like you said, everything you said, it just goes to show, like, you cannot really judge. You can judge a head coach on his first stop, but coaches learn. If they get fired and they come back to their second stint, it always seems like it works out better than the first because they've learned from their mistakes. It's shocking how humans can do that. They can adapt after failure. And Manny Diaz has found success in Durham, and I can't wait to see what year 2 of Manny Diaz brings to Duke.
Jordan, I didn't buy stock. I'm in trouble here. I didn't buy the stock prior to the year, and now the going rate is going to be way too high. And I've talked about that here on Locked On Blue Devils, but what a home run hire this has truly been. We've just been so kind of calloused and used to poor football being played over the years that you look at what happened. There's no way you're going to hit on back-to-back head coaching hires following David Cutcliffe, who had the greatest run leading this football program at a school like Duke with no football history and tradition whatsoever. There was just no way. It would be too good to be true, and it is true. Shame on me and shame on everyone else for not thinking that this would work out as well as it did.
Yeah, Nina King's done a hell of a job with her 2 hires. I mean, it's been hard to really dissect them, to know, like you just said, Cutcliffe, and then the end of Cutcliffe's tenure, it seemed like Duke was going back to the dark days, just the way they performed the last 2 years of his tenure. And then Elko comes in, wins, I think, 8 games or 9 games. Then the following year, 8 games. This year, 9 games. So Duke has, 26 wins in 3 years all of a sudden. And it's just like, it's not a fluke. Like, when you have coaching turnover, as Duke has had 3 coaches the last 5 years, and you continue to win 8 games at least, it just shows that this team and this culture in Durham is something special.
FanDuel is a proud sponsor of today's episode of Locked On Blue Devils. FanDuel is the place to go for all of your sports action. It is America's #1 sports book. The NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in on all of the regular season action with FanDuel. Right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. FanDuel has so many ways for you to pick up a W. I love betting on which players will score a touchdown and how many points each team will score. It's so thrilling. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your chance at $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL and a proud sponsor of Locked On Blue Devils. Locked On Blue Devils, we're doing some fill in the blanks here today with Duke football on the way up. So we want to talk about quarterback play for Duke. Malik Murphy's season was blank. How would you define it, Jordan?
I have Malik Murphy's season was Jekyll and Hyde. It was
okay.
It was hot and cold. It was, you would see the Virginia Tech game is just like an example, but you could make several examples. He starts the game off with 2 touchdown passes, first 2 possessions. Offense goes cold. I think there's 3 picks in the first half after having 2 touchdowns in the first 2 drives. And then he finds it again later in the second half. Duke makes a comeback victory, or Virginia Tech came to tie it, and then Duke obviously won the game. But you can make that, honestly, example for every game that he played for Duke, and it's just what he was, all-time touchdown passer, regular season touchdown passer, but also had the lowest completion percentage in the FBS when pressured, with like 20% completion percentage. So it just goes to show he's either a record breaker touchdown guy, or he's going to make an incomplete pass when he's blitzed.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. I like how you went with this question, Jordan. I kind of went in a different direction there, but I think you just convinced me to kind of make sure you point out the highs and lows. I just said Malik Murphy's season was memorable, right? You think about a new head coach coming in and starting this new era of Duke football, to start it off with 9 wins in the regular season. Just the fact that, hey, this is a quarterback from Texas, the Longhorns. You think football tradition, Texas is one of those schools that you're going to be thinking about. He makes the decision to come to Durham, North Carolina, of all places, to play football for Duke University. And yes, there were really bad moments. And now there's going to be a new quarterback taking over for Duke going into the new season. But Malik Murphy got us there. A 9-win regular season, the most touchdown passes ever. I guess I was choosing to look at it with the more glass half full approach here, Jordan. But man, it was memorable. What a year.
Yeah, look, you did glass half full. I did glass half full, but also glass half empty. I did the whole shebang. Obviously,
Jekyll and Hyde with the glass presentation that you gave me there.
Yeah, Jekyll and Hyde. And look, I wish Malik nothing but the best at Oregon State. I was going to say Arizona State, at Oregon State. The 1 year for Duke, it'll be interesting to see. Looking back to this 9-win season, I know the bowl game, obviously, but it'll be interesting to see the 9-win regular season, how we look at Malik Murphy 5 or 10 years down the road with the progression of Duke football, right? Like, yeah, this is a guy that was just a guy that filled in at QB for a 9-win team because the defense was top 3 in the country, or will Duke have inconsistent quarterback play because they took a gamble on a newcomer in Mensah? And it's like, dang, if you had Malik Murphy instead, what does it look like? So I'm curious to see, because though he was Jekyll and Hyde, he was only a sophomore for Duke. Yeah. He was a starter, and he helped win 9 games, and he didn't turn the ball over in the red zone. He'd had some turnovers, but it seemed like they were never in the red zone. That's a rarity in college football.
Yeah, dude, where is Duke football in 5 years? And then where is Malik Murphy in 5 years, right? Like, what does his college career look like from here at Oregon State? Is there a pro football opportunity for Malik Murphy in his future if he kind of can clean up those completion percentage issues and that sort of thing? And then 5 years from now, it is going to be so interesting thinking and looking back at what his experience was at Duke and how we feel kind of given what has played out over the course of time. With that being said, talking about Malik Murphy specifically, if you were to forecast 5 to 10 years from now, Jordan, when you first think of Malik Murphy, what play is it going to be for you? Is it easy to just say kind of the walk-off touchdown at the end of the year to beat Wake Forest? I probably think that's going to be the first play that I'm remembering 5 years from now with him specifically.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy because it's the last play of the regular season, but it is also
it's the last play, yeah, he ever had. He's not playing in this bowl game for Duke.
It's the last pass he ever had, and it's the perfect representation of peak Malik Murphy. Is he can make any throw, and it's just sometimes he missed the easy ones a little too much. But that deep ball, man, when he connected on that, I mean, there hasn't been another Duke quarterback in my lifetime that I remember when he dropped back to pass that it was a real threat that this was going to go to the house. And the walk-off touchdown to go to the house with no time left was awesome. It was the peak of Malik Murphy experience. And so that's what I always remember about him, is when he did drop back and throw it deep, just know that you're on the edge of your seat, because Duke could come down with it, whether it was a great pass or the receiving core of Jordan Moore and Eli Pankel being big body receivers and coming down with it.
Yeah, I'm also probably going to be thinking of the long touchdown passes to Pankel in that Virginia Tech game. I'm sure those will come to mind pretty frequently. So shout out to Malik Murphy, a memorable season. It also is a season that was Jekyll and Hyde. Well done there. All right, talking quarterbacks. Next, fill in the blank. Darian Mensah at quarterback instead of Malik Murphy is blank. Where are you going here?
I said it is the right decision just because of college offense. You're just so much more of a threat in the run game or in the offensive scheme, when the QB can go and pick you up 5 yards on the ground with 2nd and 5, 3rd and 5, and you scramble, get to the marker, that's it. Like Mensah didn't have a lot of rushing yards for Tulane, but he's mobile enough in the pocket to where if he gets blitzed or a free rusher comes after him, he can get you 2 or 3 yards to save this. You always want to be ahead of the chains, so he can always keep you ahead of the chains with his feet, and then obviously what you can see him throwing the ball. Again, now he's going to be a sophomore in Duke's system, but I think it's the right decision because in college football, I just think you have to have a quarterback that can give you some sort of threat on the ground.
Yeah, Darian Mensah at quarterback instead of Malik Murphy is opening eyes across college football with what Duke has been able to do in back-to-back seasons, getting kind of the guy at that quarterback spot. All of a sudden, Darian Mensah is in the transfer portal. Every team in America wants to go after this guy with the dynamic type player that he is. I think if we're surveying and you look at all the transfer portal rankings, John Mateer at Washington State is the most kind of sought after guy, and he's going to go play quarterback at Oklahoma this next year. But Darian Mensah was just the same. And the number of people that really wanted this guy to come and play for their school, and the fact that the college football world is now having to look at Duke and what they're doing. And we're seeing crazy reports coming out about the numbers involved with what Duke offered for him to come and play. It's very real, man. Like, we're not dumb, you and I. We're not inside the everyday life of the Duke athletic program and the collectives in place to pay players and whatnot. But we know a bag was involved in this. And shout out Duke for getting this done.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that number might be a little inflated, but I would say confidently that, yeah, Duke's putting money where their mouth is, and they don't want to just win 6-7 games. Like, that was a staple for the program in 2017, 2018. You celebrate going to the Quick Lane Bowl and all that stuff. This modern day Duke football wants to win 10 games. And it's not like, oh, we won 6 games. And that's also to go back to our point with Elko and Manny's first year. When Duke won 6 games in their seasons, there's no celebration afterwards, like celebrating going to a bowl. Like, there was some in Cutcliffe's era where Duke is acting like it's a bowling ball, they're rolling, and the guys are falling down like pins when they picked up their 6th win of the season to go like 6-4. And Manny and them and Elko's tenure, Duke would go 6-1 or 6-2. They pick up their 6th win. They're like, all right, well, the season's not over. Like, we're trying to win as many games as possible. And I think that mentality just shows you what's going on behind the scenes with Duke's. Like, hey, we're trying to now maybe possibly go to the college football playoff. And I know that sounds crazy coming out of a Duke football fan's mouth, but Duke is an SMU game away where they didn't botch those turnovers to no points. And then the Georgia Tech game, they're leading in the 4th quarter to being in the college football playoff because they're 11-1 with their only loss being to a Miami team who they were beating 28-17 in the 3rd quarter. So it's like Duke's not that far off in terms of the ACC. So Duke is like, you know what? We're going to buy our team and we're going to buy the best quarterback available. That was Mensah. And Duke's I will save my comment about the portal movement in the Q&As, but Duke's done a really good job being aggressive there as well.
We got to put a number to it for people that might not have seen this, but CBS Sports, 247 Sports, John Talty, Chris Hummer putting out there that Darian Mensah is believed to be paid $8 million by Duke University across 2 years. A $4 million annual average would make him the highest paid player in college football history. Crazy, crazy, crazy stuff there. When they talk about the fact that a $4 million annual salary would put Mensah on par or higher than 9 base salaries for Power 4 head coaches in 2024, according to USA Today's coaching salary database. Astronomical numbers that are out there. As our good friend Connor O'Neill has stated on this very show, he is the big J within your program that you've got there in the big J and little J world. It's nuts in this college football day and age in the NIL market because you've got numbers thrown out there, every reason to inflate them from both the player and school side of things. You want to be attractive for teams to go and play for you and whatnot. But I mean, these are, highly credentialed reporters at the college level within CBS saying it's an $8 million over 2 years for Darian Mensah. Crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. But again, it's exciting times for Duke football that you're landing allegedly a QB that you paid $8 million for over 2 years, but also you have your best recruiting class in the last 40 years coming to Duke. and a couple of guys that will be incoming freshmen that probably will play right away because they're so talented. And Duke beat like Clemson for one, beat Michigan with a bat for the other. And now you have Darian Mensah, who was the highly sought out number one QB in the portal via ESPN. And it's exciting times in Durham, man. I'm very pumped.
Today's episode of Locked On Blue Devils is brought to you by our friends over at Game Time. I love going to live events, whether it's sports, music, theater, comedy, whatever it is. One of my favorite memories over the last year was attending a concert. Also loved recently getting to go to Atlanta to see LeBron and the Lakers play. The energy and excitement of these events were so unforgettable. Now Game Time has made it easier to get tickets for your favorite events with their new feature, Game Time Picks. This filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Recently, I was looking for tickets using the Game Time app. With Game Time Picks, I found amazing deals and could even see the view from my seat before buying. The super deal was particularly impressive, offering great seats at unbeatable prices. Plus, the app's all-in pricing shows the total cost up front with no surprise fees at checkout. The best part, when I won, I got paid instantly. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Once again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege, LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's Game Time, a proud sponsor of Locked On Blue Devils. Duke football, fill in the blank here today. I'm JJ Jackson. He's Jordan Mann. We're talking about this team again, recording this prior to the Gator Bowl unfolding between Duke and Ole Miss. Best of luck to the Blue Devils in that one. Our next fill in the blank topic, the overall portal movement for Duke has been blank.
I put a good start. You got your quarterback who we just talked about. You got a wide receiver, Andrew Anthony, that – look, if he can stay healthy, I mean, he is scary. He is scary good. I don't think Duke's ever had a receiver the caliber of Andrew Anthony. His speed and just his playmaking ability is off the wall. I highly encourage Duke fans to look up his YouTube. And then you got a running back from App State who Duke needs the depth at the running back position. And then you had the best safety arguably in the portal, and Caleb Weaver from Sam Houston State. As a position of need for Duke, and Duke got arguably the best quarterback and arguably the best safety in the portal. They're still not done yet, but it's a good start.
Yeah, definitely been impressive as again, you highlight it with the quarterback that you got in Darian Mensah, and then finding other skill position guys like Andrew Anthony at Oklahoma that we're all really excited to see play for the Blue Devils going into this next season. I think, again, to talk about what they've done in this portal movement world, to say a good start or to talk about being impressed so far is that while we see this transfer portal come to a close right now, remember, we're set to get started in spring football. And then after spring football ends, the portal opens up once again, and Duke made a lot of moves following spring football last year when players made the decisions to either leave or stay, and then they're able to kind of go and add to it. Because I think that's important to point out, Jordan, too. Unlike college basketball or some of these other sports that we love, in the football world, the way the calendar is set up right now, there are two major opportunities to see the player movement.
Yeah, and this is going to turn into my side rant about the portal. I hate that they have the winter portal open, because it's not fair to players, it's not fair to coaches, it's not fair to everybody that a kid has to make a decision who is playing in a bowl game or playing in college ball playoff to make a better judgment for him or his family financially while his team is still playing. We saw it when Malik Murphy came to Duke when Texas was in the college ball playoff. He had to commit to Duke because he would have missed the window. And now you're seeing other QBs like Penn State's backup quarterback do the same thing while Penn State's in the college ball playoff making the decision, because you also have to enroll in early January. So you can't just push back the window of the portal. So my solution is you close that portal and you just have one massive portal in the spring, and all transfers come in the summer. It comes in the summer, and then you get them going. Like, I know you want to get on campus as soon as possible in January, but close the winter portal. Don't let finish the season that you started. Stop bailing out people and telling them, hey, go elsewhere now while the season's still going in the most important time. Keep the spring window open only.
Yeah, I think when we look at that calendar specifically, the coaches really want players to be there for spring ball and to kind of help develop and be ready to go by time fall comes around, because they've got those practice sessions in pads within the spring calendar before your spring game and that sort of thing. But coaches also don't want it to be open right now, to your point, when you've still got bowl season going on and games to be played. So it's kind of hard to make everybody happy in this. Yeah. Ultimately, I do think you benefit, though, in just waiting until the spring and hey, they're making the decision to move on, get them up to speed, ready to go, because several players missed spring ball and made a big-time impact at their new schools this year. It's not impossible for that to be done. So there you and I are trying to fix the college football world one day at a time. Good for us. All right, one more to go here. Talking about the 2024 Duke team, blank was the most underrated player on the team this season. I think we could go in a lot of different directions with this answer. I feel like so many players deserve the spotlight and some love. Where are you going, Jordan, man?
This was definitely the hardest question of them all, JJ. I really thought about this more than I should have. But with the news that Star Thomas is in the portal for Duke, I went with Peyton Jones.
Okay.
With Peyton Jones as my most underrated player this season, because his potential, we saw it in the biggest game on Duke season. Again, the Miami game. Peyton Jones had 12 carries for 71 yards and a touchdown. He had 3 catches for 61 yards and a touchdown against a top 10 team in the country. And again, he's only a sophomore. His potential is still it's still untapped. It's still there. And I think he is poised to have a really good junior season for Duke. So my stock, as Samir Hagens was my stock this past year, and I'll continue to hold that Samir Hagens stock, Peyton Jones is stock that I'm holding on to, because I think next season for him will be a big year in a Duke uniform.
Peyton Jones is a great choice there when we look at underrated guys on the team and where they could be and the impacts that they could have forecasting it for the years to come. I'll go on the defensive side of the ball. Let me get Cam Bergeron for this one right here, because we talk about kind of gritty linebacker play for Duke over the last few seasons. And, Ozzie Nicholas and Alex Howard did great things in that spot for the Blue Devils this year as well. But for Cam to be there last year, to make his first start in the Birmingham Bowl, kind of building in this momentum as to what would be the 2024 season, and to come up with highlight play after highlight play over the last year for Duke with 75 tackles. He forces 2 fumbles on the year, has 3.5 sacks, just an all-around baller for this Duke football team. I had to give Cam Bergeron some love on the defensive side. That's
a great one, JJ. I'm not going to lie to you. I cannot believe I forgot about Cam Bergeron in this, because I was thinking of every Duke player that was not in an all-ACC member, even honorable mention, and Cam Bergeron still slipped my mind, because I was like, well, I'm not going to go Terry Moore. I'm not going to go Vincent Anthony or, Wes Williams. Sure. So I was like, let me think of offensive player, and Peyton Jones. But yeah, Cam Bergeron easily. I agree with you wholeheartedly. That dude's been phenomenal, and God, he was so good this year.
Superstar, an absolute superstar. Well, this has been a lot of fun filling in the blanks with Duke football. Please let us know down in the comments below. Who do you agree with more, me or Jordan? Do you agree with both of us? For the most part, we were on the same page in so much of this. So really do appreciate all the support there. Right, Jordan?
Yeah, the Cam Bergeron was going to win a lot of votes. So I hope everybody forgets to vote about that one. But yeah,
Jekyll and Hyde for Malik Murphy was the way to go. That definitely was a winner on your side of things. Because
I have Jekyll and Hyde, you have Cam Bergeron. Yeah. It evens out.
It evens out. Okay, tell people about all your work and how they can support you.
Yeah, podcast Big J and Little J Show. You can find on my YouTube at jman_. You can find it on Apple and Spotify. And again, my YouTube is jman_, where you can find film breakdowns and other Duke basketball content. And much more is to come. So I'm excited about that. And obviously my Twitter at jmanstakes.
Great to see you, man. We'll do this again soon, okay?
See you, buddy.
All right, that's Jordan Mann joining us here on today's episode of Locked On Blue Devils. Appreciate his thoughts and insight on all of that. Let us know what you thought for those Duke football fill-in-the-blanks that we went through here on today's show. As always, go Duke. I'll talk to you again soon. My name is JJ Jackson. Thank you and good day.